Welcome, my peeps. Welcome to our little channel here, Eraser TCG. We're going to be doing a market watch today. I'm producer San here, and this is
Free Ange.
Free Ange. We're going to figure out what's kind of going on in the market, where we're at, how we got here, and, just some of the crazy things that have been happening. So without further ado, we'll just start with the over triggers. Now the over triggers have been interesting. They've had interesting price spikes. We're looking at here around a $10 per over trigger. Now they look like to be over 10. Besides Gal Megheld. I hope I said that right. Gal Mageheld. I don't know. What do you think here, Ange?
I don't know. I just call him Mage Guy.
Oh.
Anyways, yeah, Dark States, they're kind of like the unpopular side decks that people don't like because, they're edgy. I like them.
Edgy.
Edgy.
I mean, it's cool. You got Barrel Magnus. You got Bruce. Both really cool cards.
What do they win?
We'll have to see how they scale. Stat 1 looks like they're a little bit more reserved in how they attack. The Barrel Magnus looks like you kind of need to curve into your grade 3 15 soul, like right away, and you can have a pretty good chance.
Yeah, you need turn 1 Brother's Soul, turn 2 Brother's Soul, turn 3 Brother's Soul, and you win.
Sugoi.
Unless you get, hit 4 times by Bastion, then you might die there, but
yes.
that happens.
Alright, well, we can move on to now rares and then their hollow versions too. Hollow rarities have been interesting. It's been the first time that we've seen it in a main set, right?
Yes. I was about the y'all false.
First time in a main set, and it's going to be in our OverDress set 1. Our highest ones right now are all the perfect cards. Except with a few mentions, I guess. Let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 in the top 5. And you have the Witch crit trigger for Keter Sanctuary.
I'm seeing a little trend here. All the Keter cards are a little bit high here.
Yeah.
Yeah, why is that? Why is that?
Bastion's good deck.
Bastion's good deck.
Consistent 4 turn swings at plus 20,000 power is pretty strong. And with consistency in getting your soul charged.
Countercharge.
And countercharging.
We'll get to that guy later.
Yeah. But we'll go scroll down see if we see anything surprising. Let's see here. Ooh. What's going on here? Conductor Spark.
Well, you see supply versus demand. They were at very low prices earlier. Someone decided, hey, I want to full out my deck.
So they bought out everything.
Yeah. I mean, most of these are around 30, 25 listings. I could see how it could have just
jumped.
Bought out.
Yeah. I'm assuming that we might see a few more,
Ooh, Monster Reborn or Spiritual Body Condensation.
It is a Monster Reborn for Stoichia for sure.
Well, I mean, Zolga is getting some really, really good support coming up set 2. And I also like using it in Magnolia too, so,
Nice.
Prefer the Magnolia build with the orders.
Alright, let's see what else we got. Deep Sonicer?
Yep, Deep Sonicer.
Oh my gosh.
Key card in Barrel Magnus. The 4th and 5th attack will be Deep Sonicer almost all the time.
That is very high for just a hollow card at a rare rarity.
I think he's just a common.
Oh, he's a common?
He's a common hollow.
Oh my goodness. Who decided this? Who made this?
And these guys are
not hollow.
Not hollow.
And I think we've now passed all the surprise cards. I doubt we'll see anything else that could surprise us at the end, but I could be wrong. No, that's it. So looks like Stoichia and Dark States have had the most buyout in terms of the hollows, as we're seeing low stock for those, which is surprising. But I think people like those kind of cool mechanics.
They're getting ready. Set 2.
Set 2. All right, let's move on to double rares. Now, double rares have been one of those staples in Vanguard that it's a must of, but they'll typically be low price, or they're like garbage tier and like no one buys them.
Yeah, remember BT01 through BT6, where PGs were like in the 15s to 20s to 25s? Yeah. Per copy.
But that was like the only card that was at 15 to 20, besides the triple rares.
It was the only perfect card too. No reprints.
Very few reprints.
No reprints.
No reprints. Oh man, I remember when Pascal was going between $25 and $50 for the Aqua Force ones, which was very interesting to me.
All right, what we got here? We got Boba Mine sitting at market price 18. That means people bought at those prices.
I know.
It means people bought at those prices.
Some people might have bought it higher at like 20.
Yes.
Which is crazy, because if we look at what happened last week in their rarities, let's see, what do we have?
Last week, Boba Mine was at $7.
$7.
$7. I think it was Friday. I remember recording on a Friday. That
is a very big spike.
Mm-hmm.
It's like close to 200. No, I'm saying 150% uplift in price.
Yep. I mean, it was to expected though. If we look at the trends in Japan too, it did rise up, and it's gonna rise more as we see more support coming out for Mr. Orphis and Mr. Snow, because
Mr. Snow,
Mrs. Snow, yeah, especially for Orphis though, because that guy burns kind of blast like nothing. So
then we have Fosato. Fosato jumped.
I mean, he's part of probably the best deck in the format, so kind of 4 of.
Let's see, what was he at last week? $6. $6,
yes, he was at $6.
So he roughly was. He's bought for like twice market price, around twice, but it's now people are kind of putting him at 3 times the spot.
I'm sure if you look hard enough on the internet, you could probably find him for $10, but not a TCG player.
All right, let's see what we got.
Gundam Ram.
Steam Battle.
That card is pretty interesting. I believe he is staple in both the Bruce deck and the Barrel Magnus deck. Why don't you click on him just to make sure I'm not making a fool of myself.
No, it is the Dark States.
Yes. This card can only get better as time goes on. On placement, Soul Charge 1, Soul Blast 3, draw a card. Like, it can only get better.
True that. It was sitting at $7, and it jumped up a little bit.
Yep.
We see that
there's only 3 listings too, so even lower than Fosato.
We do see the trend that Dark States is a deck that people are buying a lot of, in Stoichia. Mm-hmm. But as we round down through the rest of the cards, they all seem to be roughly around a stable price point where people are like, yeah, you could buy them, but they're not necessary. The Verino ones is interesting because that one I think would be more interesting, but not as many people are buying.
I don't know why people aren't buying it. It's a staple card in the Nirvana Arena deck because it's gonna be. I don't know what else could power creep it. Like maybe an on play draw 1 or something. I don't know, but Counterblast 1 draw 2 on Overdress is just gonna be good for at least the rest of the year. And we're not rotating either, so I don't know why it's so. Maybe Nirvana's just not popular. I don't know.
We don't know. We'll have to see. I doubt that'll be the case for set 2, but with Overlord coming as the new ride line, we're just gonna have to play by ear and see what the Japanese do, and maybe that'll translate to us. Even though we do typically have different metas between that. Can't always trust our US meta versus a Japan meta. At least not all the time. see. No, since we're done with the double rares, we'll be going
What
into
about these
triple.
guys down here, huh?
Oh, well, we could
Spurring
talk
Maiden,
about the
$4. Tenchestead $3. I think Tenchestead's a bad card at the moment. He'll get better, I'm sure. Marjorie is a staple.
You know what I think would be great? It's probably going to be for the Overlord deck.
Unless Overlord deck burns Counter Blast too.
It could.
Yeah.
But I have a strong feeling that they could get a counter charger.
Mark my words though. Painkiller Angel is going to spike up.
Painkiller Angel. Right now, 65 cents.
It's going to be $5.
This is the time to invest if you're going to have them. If you already have your playsets, don't get rid of them. Yep. It is one of those cards that could scale pretty well.
A 1 for 1 soul is very good. You dig for your stuff. You dig for your, like Persona rides, PGs, your guard, even triggers too. Like 15k shield will let you live. So
it always makes it so that you're not plussing, but you're not negging.
Yes.
The dig can always help you.
Plenty of slow facade on the side too.
Let's see, but I think Painkiller dropped though, right? It was like above $1.
No, I think I just rounded up to $1. It should still be the same.
Okay, but market price is $1.32, so people were buying it above $1.
Yep.
And I still will see continue.
Chevelle Stud, he'll get better with time. Hendrina is the support for Zolga. I think she'll get better with time too. So invest now. Invest now.
It's a low investment too, like a few dollars. Although you probably have to buy a bunch, so you don't have to pay shipping.
I guess not invest, but if you're planning to play it, just buy it now.
That too. This is a market watch, so investing is going to be part of our topics that we talk about here. All right, now moving on. Triple rares. Ooh, get out of there.
All right, so starting off, we got Valiente at $22. You think that's a fair price? We think it's a little too much.
For a triple rare, it's not the craziest price I've seen. If we look based on last week, it was only at 20.
20, so about roughly.
So this is one of those cards that it'll be consistent forever. Now, whether people start buying them out will probably increase that value, but this is a for sure 4 of card that you should always have.
You know, I'm thinking now, like, they did reveal the new Verena as a grade 2. Maybe that's why people are holding out buying Arcs, because maybe that Verena will replace that Verena. And they haven't shown anything about a grade 3 Verena yet, so maybe that's why it's holding.
Maybe. I do doubt that they'll make a Verena that also draws again. If I had to guess, they're going to do one that probably replaces the regular Verena that does the retiring
Target retire.
Yeah. So that's the only thing I can see. I doubt they'll make another one. Otherwise, Verena Arcs would just be completely just null, and you'd probably push it out of the deck.
Well, regular Verena will never be out because all the ride lines search for it.
Oh, okay.
And the stuff that supports it searches that specific Verena.
Oh, it could lower it though.
Yeah.
Moving on to Alden, $15.
I'd say that's a okay price. I think 10 would be more of a regular value, I guess, because Alden's good, Fasato's good, but he might get replaced with the Festival Collection guy.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Is that why there's so many listings still?
Maybe, yeah, because I know just from looking to the future, watching the Japanese players play, they switched to the Festival Collection guy, which is kind of last 1 plus 5k. If you Persona Road draw 1.
Ooh.
So, and that's also why what's her face? Painkiller Angel has become popular too, because you're using it to dig for your Persona rides, and 2 counter blasts is a heavy cost. You don't always have it, especially on turn 1.
And your opponent won't always give you the chance to let you hit on with the Fasado.
Mm-hmm.
So starting them out of counter blast is pretty good. One thing that I've seen that the deck is successful to is grade 3 flood in your hand without that angel grade 3 that allows for defensive. The second thing is the early rush. Since the popular decks don't play grade 2s or 1s, you typically won't have a defensive hand until grade 3.
Mm-hmm.
So getting rushed down early it has been a very more popular playstyle to do. Versus like, ride, swing, and then end turn. Bastion's one of those that once you're ahead enough, it's very hard for them to keep consistently come back from.
Mm-hmm.
And price from last week was the same, so I don't think it'll move. If anything, it might drop to 10, like you said, with the festival collection.
Yeah. Most listings, actually.
One of the things that's very tough to see when it comes to at least English markets is if when we follow suit a Japanese set list, when we have it out, like Festival Collection comes out at the time of recording on May 31st, comes out on June 25th, so just a month away. So people will just hold off and just switch over and, not worry about doing tournaments now and might do them later. Alright. Well, we can move on.
Yep.
Let's see, what do we got? What we got here, Ange?
The boys.
The boys.
Eden. I'm very surprised it's selling at 14
Oof.
at
Why?
market price. I think Bruce is good. It can steal games, but I think Bruce is also weak if he goes second. I mean, he doesn't get final rush until the next turn he's on Bruce, and that makes him very he's going to die.
He's gonna
die to Alden and friends.
No.
With no way of generating real way of generating cards actually, besides that Gundam guy, and yeah, that's about it. I mean,
yeah, it's just one of those decks that it wants to play slow. Bruce is a very deck that's just like, all right, you just attack me and hopefully you don't crit me to death.
And once I get a final rush, then I'll try to kill you.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Like you're swinging in for 5 attacks, and if they don't have any defensive triggers or low hand, it's a little dicey for them.
Bruce can also YOLO in and rush too, but if the opponent has removal, you should be stuck with nothing.
Yeah, this is very true.
There we got Mr. Orphist here. $12.
This is a very surprising card for it being $12. Especially with the reveals of the support in set 2 that comes out at the end of July. There's 2 cards. The grade 2, that's a triple rare.
Mm-hmm.
I do not know the name of it right now. But that allows you to blow up one of your tokens to draw a card.
I think you blow up the column, herself too.
Oh, okay. That's still. They already conserve a really big hand, which is already really good. And then them on top of that being able to consistently have that advantage is really good. Also, Orphis swinging for 18 is one of those really awkward guards to do.
Yep.
Normally, if a Vanguard just swings by itself, you're normally putting down 1 card to do either a 2 to pass or an over trigger if they haven't over triggered yet. Besides Snow, if she has 3 prisons, but other than Nirvana, there's few ways, but conditionally, the easiest one being those 2, things are just swinging for 13 with their base value. Or if it kind of turns that base value to 18 and your triggers in hand kind of become 1 to pass, I guess. And that's already tough.
Yeah, 1 to pass with a trigger or 2 cards. 2 5Ks. That's pretty bad.
So, man. It is surprising that it's this low. I think it will go higher. My guess is if there's 1 more card that can interact with tokens besides the grade 2 and 1. Not the grade 3. I think the grade 3 is fine as it is, but they have something else that's pretty good. I think this will either jump to $15 or $20. I hope. That'll be the hope. That way my playset has better value than ever. Also, this is a very salty deck to lose to too, because they have so much hand and it's just so hard to get them down. It does get easier as the turns go by, and they lose their resources, but as it stands right now, they're just a deck that's really just hard to like hit over, and have a hand advantage. So I think $12 is fine. I think it'll go up. What do you think?
I think if you're planning to play it, I think I just invested the $12.
Let's see. From last week, they were sitting at $7. So it went up to $5. So people are finding more interest in it. And right now, yep, even the market price is around $12ish. So enough said.
I'm assuming that everyone's gotten their stuff by now from the delays. Wish you already mentioned it. And if these are still the prices after delay of everyone getting their stuff, that means this is all we got until August. So, just a heads up. Just a heads up.
All right, we got Zorga here.
Zorga can only get better. That's all I'm saying. Like most of these decks, they can only get better because he has so much potential with warrior cards. Whatever Bushiroad prints in the future, he's just gonna take advantage of it. Like, no other reason. Would you invest in it though?
Oh, 100%. 100% would invest in it. I think Zorga is one of those decks that could mistakenly be put strong. I do have lots of hope in this R&D team, but we're going to put that aside for Alchem Magic interactions, especially when they have more support cards coming out for it. We already have the Maiden that allows you to Soul Blast for free for cost paying. Now we're coming up to the one that has a Counter Blast for free, and you can only get better. Like at that point, they have to make something either on par with it or a little bit better, just so they can rotate some of these cards out. Or sometimes they'll just play maybe a combination of all of them. We'll have to see. One of the things I do fear that is they may not print strong attackers, which could affect Stoichia as a whole. Right now there's a good split supports between Zorga and Magnolia, but they're going to make that one mistake where you have one card that can play for both sides that are super strong in both, and it could just meta warp everything.
I mean, the spiritual body condensation is already good in both decks, so like... Oh, Ghost Chase too.
Ghost Chase.
I want to look at full Ghost Chase in a bit.
Alright, so it was at $10, now it's $13.
Yep.
It's a good time to invest.
Yeah, we're just telling everyone to invest in every deck right now.
Invest in everything.
Yeah. If you're looking to buy it or play it in the future, just buy it now, probably. Unless you're going to wait till August.
We'll talk about that at the end.
Yes. Alright, Aurora Battle Princess Agra Rouge. $12. I didn't expect her to be 12. I expect her to be more like around 7 or 8. She is a key card, but no, this is what I should expect. Yeah, she's popular. The deck's popular. So this is correct.
So are you saying that the extra dollar is dollars? Is the waifu tax?
It is the waifu tax. Is it a good deck right now? I would say
it's okay.
It murders Magnolia and Stoichia, that. But against the big boys, Bastion, Nirvana, I got too much of that resist going on. So bottom of the barrel. Not as far as Eugene, but still. But it will get better, of course, with the grade 2 from Festival Collection. On hit, jail 2 from drop. Can't dodge that unless you block.
With time, when the set first came out, before any of the set 2 releases, my thought was like, Prison feels really good as a mechanic, but it kind of feels bad at the same time because your opponent can outplay it, versus you can having more control, similar to like Star Invaders in a sense. But set 2 stuff coming out with Festival Collection, I think just we'll see the shoot to the top, and we'll probably see Rouges go up. Not only because Prison 1 for Soul Blast 1, when the deck's already really it just has so much soul to begin with to play with. It having a 15 body and 15 shield is like crazy if your opponent does not pull him out of the prison.
Yep.
So, if I had to guess, maybe it goes to 15 later on, especially if the reprint doesn't come with as much as set one's first drop was. We will definitely see this go up.
Absolutely.
All right. And last week, what was it? Was that 9?
Yeah, 9. So that went about a couple bucks.
So pretty consistent with the waifu tax. What's our next card here?
All right, Mr. Master of Gravity with the cinder blocks. Barrel Magnus. All right, $7. Market price $7. What was he last week?
Let's see. Last week he was 5.
5.
That's big.
You went up a little bit, all right? $2. Okay. Barrel Magnus as a deck.
Well, let's check that price for a second.
Yeah.
There's 25 listings. That's a lot of listings, especially if those listings have multiple cards in them. Being at $7 from being at 5, that's a pretty sizable jump. It's not a low supply issue at this one.
Mm-hmm.
So is this a North America like putting stock into Barrel Magnus in the future?
I would say so, because like Barrel Magnus versus all the other decks, you get it off. Your opponent's probably dead. Board wipe every turn, crit every turn, draw every turn. But I think it's more just popularity.
Popularity?
Yeah. I mean, maybe consistency too. You think?
I think so.
Still charging. You need 10 for the crit and power, 15 for the board wipe, and multi-attack obviously too.
Because I think for us, we look more at like base stats, right?
Mm-hmm.
Versus Japan that likes to do more of a deck control.
Japan's all about that fancy shenanigans, and they win through tactics. Americans just take a bat and smack their opponent. So I like that way too. Fast and simple.
Mm-hmm.
But $7 for Barrel Magnus.
What do you think of the deck overall?
The deck overall, it could definitely steal games. Like if you curveball it correctly, your Brother Souls, your Gundams, your whatever you need. You get a 15 on your first ride, your opponent's going to be hurt. Anything you put down, it's going to get wiped next turn. And you're going to be attacking 5 times too. That's the thing. Your deep Sonicers.
Alright. Good?
Yeah.
Next one we got here is Sylvan Hornby's Ghoul Solo.
Genusia.
Called the Bear.
Big Bear.
Well, first off, we can go based on last week this week. Same pricing, $5. Market price is a little high, but I think with a flood of listings, people are just trying to undercut right now. So, I don't know. I haven't played too much against Magnolia, so I wouldn't be able to tell you exactly what's making this card be at $5 if that's kind of the lower price end.
So I have played with Magnolia. That was the only deck I played this Saturday before I left early. I played at 2.
At 2.
Because you don't got much counter blast to work with. I usually just dump him. If I need him, I'll just Monster Reborn him back, or Spiritual Body Condensation back. Like, he's good to murder your opponent, but usually you only have like 1 counter blast or 2 counter blasts to work with, unless you just like eat a bunch of damage. And if you eat a bunch of damage, you're probably going to die next turn. Because Magnolia doesn't really generate card advantage in terms of drawing. You have cards that can call stuff back, but usually they're 1 for 1. The only other card that can +1 is, what's that girl's name? Inheritance Meta? Hendrina?
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of +1, so +1, bring a card back. The deck's also very susceptible. Weak to removal. Prison girls just eat them alive. Feral Magnus wiping the board, you're just dead. Even Eugene. They kill your key cards, it's done. You can't do your combo with Ghost Chase. You can Monster Reborn your Magnolia back or something. Ghost Chase it back to your hands. You can personal override again. Yeah, it's rough. That's probably explains the $5 per bear.
Okay.
One, the deck isn't that good right now, and two, you don't really want to play that many in the deck, so that's why there's so many.
Okay.
Price, yeah.
Okay.
Not enough demand. That's the main reason.
Well, good. Well, we'll see how this plays out in the future. Do you think there is an investment for this?
I mean, maybe if they get a really cool counter charger.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's hard to use his skill and Magnolia's skill at the same time. Yep. My 2 cents.
We'll have to see how that plays out later. But for now, we'll start moving on to Hexorb Sorceress. Now, we'll go back to pricings now. So $3 from last week, $2.78 or around $3.45 market price. I do have some problems with Hexorbs in general. Well, we'll talk about the bad. The bad is that the deck isn't consistent in killing people fast. There is a bit of setup that needs to happen, and there can be some denials in the early game as their right line does. It does depend on counterblast, right?
Yep, you must persona, and then to get the effect off, you must counterblast and soul blast.
Okay, so there is some early damage deny you can do to like slow the deck down really hard. I've done it once where I just did an attack into them for 2 turns, and they just kind of just swung, and then like I just like came back and just started swinging harder, and they couldn't generate as much advantage, which is a really big weakness to a deck. Yeah, what do you think?
Well, Hexorb, I mean, the triple drive, it's strong, but honestly, I think it's definitely I haven't played too much of it, nor played against it, so I don't know much. I mean, on paper it looks cool, Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, +1 drive, stack something on top, get 10k whenever you check something. Only 2 rear guards though. Let's do it yourself too. 2 to pass becomes a 1 to pass. But I think her biggest problem right now is a lack of grade 1 and 2 supports too. I don't think a lot of her grade 1s and 2s are that strong.
No.
Like, the ones that stack are usually just for that one turn. Like, the grade 2 was it? Play it, rest it or something, check. Grade 1.
I think it was grade 1,
yeah. So I think if she can get stronger rear guards, the deck could be better. But at the moment, just take out your bat with Bastion and beat your opponent down. Yeah.
Alright. And then we've got Eugene here. Last week was interesting versus this week. $1 last week, $3 this week.
Oh, dude, that's like a 300%, 200, 300%.
200%.
There's 300%.
I think if it's 300%, it'd be at $4 because you're adding each.
All right, 200%.
200%. That's a big increase. Is this hype, or is this thinking that we might get good support for him later down the line? Come on.
I don't know. Like, Eugene, for him to be good, they need to give it the I will take you back in time to the G era.
Oh yeah.
Back where Dark Ravagers were still not that good, until Bushbo decided to say, we'll just give them abilities where your opponent just can't guard, and they'll win. I think that's where Eugene might be going towards.
Cool.
Guard restrict, power-ups, crits. I mean, he already has all that. Power-ups, you got that little dinosaur that gives him crit too.
The remnants of Tachikaze.
Yeah. Rip Tachikaze.
Oh, dinosaurs.
But Eugene-wise, I think his main skill is kind of crap.
No.
Because Oh yeah, I'll explain. Because like, you look at the top X cards of the deck based on how many empty rear guard circles is it, right? Yeah, and then you call them out. They don't go back into the deck. They go in the soul. Any triggers that you see are lost.
Oh.
So.
Oh no.
Yeah. If they went back in the deck, oh, very good. But the fact that you lose all your resources into soul. The free retire, well I guess it's not free, you have to rest 2 rear guards, but it kind of fixes itself with your units killing themselves to kill other cards and then replacing themselves, which is fine I guess, but I think it's that second ability that's not very good.
I think one of the things that Dragon Empire probably feels underwhelming is their retire mechanics. They don't feel like they swing the game like they used to. Or am I wrong here? I could be wrong. I can be wrong.
See, back then our decks all had nothing but rear guards that can throw down. These days, we have many order cards that are playing too, or most decks are playing orders. That means we have less rear guards to throw down. I think Bushiroad is making retirement harder or more costly because it might be actually stronger in this current metagame.
Ooh.
Because we have less rear guards to work with. Because if you think about it, we have 4 cards in our ride line, which are going to be our vanguards, and 46 cards in our deck. Usually we're pitching rear guards to ride from the right deck because most of the time you don't really want to pitch a 15k shield or something unless you have to. That means you are having less and less rear guards to work with throughout the game, unless you're Zorga because you just call them back.
Monster Reborn. I mean,
spiritual body condensation. So I think Bushiroad is taking a cautious approach to giving strong retirements to see how the game goes during the first set. That's just my thoughts.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Alright. And with that, we'll stop here for our part 1. This video is already long, and I don't want to make it too long because we have SPs to go through, and those will be fun to kind of dissect where this goes, because this isn't like a kind of a meta talking SP market, right?
No, this is who wants what at this price.
Exactly. So we'll do this in part